Hello, welcome to another episode of The Week in Review, a weekly program where we bring you major stories that made the headlines in the week. I'm your host, Princess Ken Ochoma. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Now, getting straight into the show. As Nigerians' insecurity challenges get more problematic, many Nigerians seem not to have the confidence that things will get better soon. Correspondent Chimezin Zedema was out in the streets of Abuja to get the opinion of some residents on insecurity situation in the country and how they think it can be tackled.
Killings. Now, recently, 2 days ago, the Niger state government just declared shutdown of the entire both public and private schools. Look at what happened in Kwara State. Now, if you look at all those things, I believe even the so-called the bandits and the terrorists, it is that declaration that's actually, to me, that's in kind of engineered all those recent kidnapping, because they believe that by the time they get hold of all those victims, they will use them as a shield. By the time the American government comes, it will be difficult for them to strike. But you cannot strike where a terrorist who is holding on to about 500 to 300 to 500 primary school people. I mean, it's but I believe their coming will help.
For the terrorism and genocide that is happening in this country, somehow I may say nothing is above government. But as far as government refuses to do anything, we have the world power. If world power can bring the solution, to me, I prefer the US to intervene if US can bring the solution of this country. But in other way around, that will not be the best, because the US cannot remain in Nigeria forever. So the best thing is good for Nigeria to reason and resolve the problem by itself.
Once you have a problem here, you talk about the government, that you are not confident with what government are doing. Actually, the security will trace you and come and apprehend you. But while you can see the terrorists are going up and down doing video in the social media, while the government, we have all the intelligence, they can track these people down. So they fail. I think coming to America is to intervene. I think it is the solution.
Since our president and his team is not able to secure our lives and properties, there is every need for foreign intervention as regarding the protection of our lives and properties.
Our military, they are trying, not that they are not trying, but it's like they don't have good support from the government. So that's why I suggest if the foreign military will come and help us, because I believe they will not wait for the order from our government or from our chief of army staff. It's what the foreign country has them to do. That's what they do. That's why I suggest they should come and help us.
If you check all the rallying points all over the country, most of the people was even supporting it. Let Trump come and see how we can assist Nigeria, because it's like our government agencies are part and parcel of what's happening. You can hear from almost all the radio stations, all the TV stations. You can hear some of the people saying that yes, there are some people that are involved in this government that are sponsoring these bandits and even terrorists in this country. So we welcome that development. If there's any way you can come to assist Nigeria, let him come.
Our government, we don't know what they are doing. Yes, because this country now, the way this country is going on now, we don't know what our leaders are doing. So maybe help from somewhere will help us. Maybe we move forward. Because we cannot solve our problem ourselves. So definitely, I think foreign intervention inside this our Nigerian government now, I think is very, very important. It's helpful.
Most Nigerians say they no longer feel safe in their own homes, following the recent spike in abductions and banditry in parts of the country. They are, however, calling on the government to urgently deploy more security personnel to protect churches, schools, and other public places. Correspondent Christopher Lele reported this.
Nigeria appears to be entering a troubling phase where insecurity is no longer a distant concern but a daily reality, casting its shadow over communities, highways, markets, and increasingly the nation's schools. The recent surge in kidnappings has unsettled citizens and raised serious concerns about the effectiveness of the country's security architecture across several states. Fear has become a constant companion. Travelers now avoid certain routes, farmers abandon their farmlands, and families adjust their daily routines around the unpredictability of violent attacks. Citizens have continued to voice deep concern over the worsening security situation.
In fact, to me, I'm not safe. I don't think I'm safe here. It's just where there's nothing we can do than the government to plead on the government to, work very hard to make sure that everyone is safe. Because you don't have gun, I don't have gun. So there's nothing I can do than to just look unto God and cry unto, that's the way we have been doing, cry unto the government to please whatever they think they can do under their watch to make sure that these guys, they don't get hold on us, because hey, I'm afraid if they come, while are they will not be small thing.
We need more security men in this country. And secondly, these security men should be deployed to their own states.
The rate of insecurity in Nigeria is getting high, and everybody seems to be insecure. But what is happening is getting out of hand.
We are not happy as a citizen that our fellow citizens are falling down. Both the army and the innocent children, especially school children, the way they are falling on daily basis, we are not happy.
Seeing our old women being kidnapped, being robbed, in this country that we call Giants of Africa. It's so bad. And the current government, they are not doing anything to what is happening.
Businesswoman Ifeoma Aneke says many residents are now too afraid to sleep soundly in their homes.
I don't think anybody feels safe. Aside me, I don't think anybody feels safe for what is happening in Nigeria presently, because the kidnapping, the bandits everywhere, the killing, everybody is so scared. Even to sleep, if you are sleeping now, I don't think people are sleeping with their eyes closed. If you hear any noise anywhere, you just wake up, because everywhere is not safe in Nigeria presently.
Christian Aminu called on relevant authorities to ensure the deployment of security personnel to churches, schools, and other public institutions to guarantee safety for citizens while carrying out their daily activities.
I think the government should try by all means to adopt a system whereby there will be security agencies that will be released to churches, schools, and other infrastructures that at least the people can be safe when they are around their place of duty and workplaces.
Let them mobilize security agents, all the consigns, let them make sure that insecurity is stopped in Nigeria. Some time ago, I had a foreign country planning coming to Nigeria to do something concerning it. And up till now, they are still killing and nothing is done. They should do something concerning it.
These reactions come as state governments adopt emergency preventive measures. In Katsina State, authorities have ordered the closure of all public schools following credible threats linked to kidnapping gangs. Kwara State has also shut down schools due to rising fears of possible attacks, while Plateau State has placed selected institutions on indefinite closure. Findings across the northern region show that over 180 schools have been affected by either temporary or ongoing shutdowns directly linked to insecurity. Residents, however, insist that beyond closures, there is an urgent need for a coordinated and sustained security response to restore public confidence and ensure the protection of lives and property. In Enugu, Christopher Lele, Signature TV News.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Senate has adopted a resolution categorizing kidnapping as a form of terrorism. It has therefore called for amendments to the Terrorism Act to ensure the strictest punishment is applied.
There has been growing concern among Nigerians following the renewed spate of abductions, kidnappings and killings in some parts of the country. This has left citizens in perpetual fear as to what will happen next, where it will happen, and who the victims may be. During Wednesday's plenary session, senators agreed that any individual convicted of kidnapping should automatically face the death penalty once the law is revised. Senator Lola Ashiru from Kwara South, who sponsored the motion, urged urgent federal intervention after recent abductions, including school children, which has led to closure of schools in several states of the country. The Senate also debated reports of soldiers withdrawing from vulnerable areas before attacks. Senator Enyi Nanya Abaribe and other senators criticized the government handling of security, saying the administration must own up to its failures instead of blaming predecessors.
The governor of Kebbi said that somebody ordered troops out and people were kidnapped. Till today, nobody in Nigeria knows what happened. And no question has been asked. And we are sitting down here as a parliament and we turn and we talk. Yet, somebody is responsible. If I'm the commander-in-chief, I will call the army commander in that place and the head of the army and say, if you don't get me the head of this person, who withdrew the troops to put all these children in jeopardy? Nigerians are entitled to know, and it is no longer national secret. The commander of that area who ordered that those men be withdrawn, it is to be a national secret to be kept within military cycle. Nigeria should know the name and the person should be brought to justice under the Terrorist Act.
That part of the report that states that military personnel were withdrawn from that school in Kebbi, we must identify who gave the command and why. And that must be made public to the Nigerian people. Finally, and also as important, just like the last speaker mentioned, there is need, as Senator Ashiru alluded to review the Nigerian firearm law.
Some lawmakers also pushed the narrative that security agencies know the locations and motives of bandits.
Some people are living in their comfort places, making phone calls with these bandits. Can't we identify them? We can identify them. How do we do it? The gadgets were bought for the National Security Advisor. The gadgets were bought for telecommunications. They will be able to tell us where all these people are.
We must amend our laws to say kidnapping is a terrorist act and must therefore be treated as such and must therefore carry the death penalty. We can continue to buy arms and ammunition and platforms from other countries, but that is not the way to go in the long run, because we bought the Super Tucanos. What happened? So the sensors that we needed on those Super Tucanos were not made available. We have therefore every reason to devote so much resources and make the right policies and legislations.
Let us use this opportunity to give the president or the leadership the necessary support in order to address this very serious problem of insecurity that is expanding.
The Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, condemned attempts to frame the crisis along religious and sectional lines. He described the kidnapping as organized attacks aimed at destabilizing Nigeria's democracy.
The penalty for kidnapping should be changed immediately to carry the maximum punishment of death. This has also been seconded, that henceforth, kidnapping should first be classified as a terrorist act and which should carry death penalty.
The new legislation aims to send a strong message against kidnappers and nationwide security challenges. And as some analysts will always ask, is legislation actually the problem of the country, or strengthening institutions to be able to discharge the constitutionally assigned roles?
Preparations are intensifying for what may become one of Nigeria's most significant constitutional update in 25 years. At a joint retreat in Abuja, lawmakers said the decisions made now could redefine how power and resources are managed across the nation.
At the second joint retreat of the Senate and House Committees on Constitutional Review in Abuja, Deputy Speaker and Committee Chairman Benjamin Kalu said the political future of more than 200 million Nigerians hang on the decisions now before lawmakers. Kalu noted that the ongoing reforms will redefine governance, federalism, and the management of power, resources, and security across the Federation.
Section 9 of the 1999 Constitution as amended requires that all alteration to the Constitution must be approved by at least two-thirds of the House of Assembly of the Federation. This means that no matter how brilliant, how necessary, or how popular our amendments may be, they will not become law without the support of at least 24 out of 36 states' Houses of Assembly. State domestication is therefore the constitutional gateway through which every amendment must pass. The success or failure of this constitutional review will ultimately be determined not here in Abuja alone, but in the 36 state assemblies across the Federation.
With governors set for a crucial briefing on November 26th, the National Assembly says the next phase will test the nation's political will. Deputy Senate President Jibrin Barau, who chairs the Senate Committee on Constitutional Review, said the Senate remains committed to meaningful reforms. He explained that the retreat aims to adopt earlier resolutions, review subcommittee reports, and advance legislative work, including proposals on state and local government creation.
Our meeting today will be less deliberative, except where there is a substantive motion to reconsider any issue already concluded in the last meeting. Because the purpose of this meeting is to approve the positions reached previously and to receive reports from the subcommittees constituted to take further legislative actions on some of the bills and the issue of state and local government creation that were referred to these two committees.
Speaker of Gombe State House of Assembly, Abubakar Mohammed, who represented the Conference of Speakers of State Houses of Assembly, pledged the support of state legislatures as critical and strategic partners in national development.
As we gather here today for what has been described as the final retreat before the transmission of outcome to the state houses of assembly, it is clear that our joint efforts are yielding tangible progress. This retreat offers an opportunity to further appreciate the intention, objectives, and constitutional implication behind the proposed amendments.
The retreat brought together federal lawmakers, state speakers, and key stakeholders for what is considered the final engagement before the National Assembly votes on the amendment bills. Attention will thereafter shift to the states where their approval will determine whether Nigeria finally achieves the long-awaited constitutional milestone.
The federal government has unveiled a new $500 million agricultural program designed to strengthen food security, improve the income of farmers. The initiative, known as Agricultural Value Chain for Growth, AGRO, was introduced to enhance export-ready production across Nigeria's agroecological zones. A zonal workshop held in Enugu, which brought together federal agencies, state governments, the World Bank, and private sector stakeholders. Correspondent Chinemere Mikebunem, who was at the workshop, brought us the report.
The Agro Workshop in Enugu is the latest step in the federal government's push to restructure Nigeria's agricultural system into a more productive, climate-aligned, and market-ready sector, originated by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security in partnership with the World Bank, the Nigeria Government Forum, and the Presidential Food Systems Coordinating Unit. The engagement brought together key players to identify persistent gaps in the value chain. The Enugu State Commissioner for Agriculture and Agro-Industrialization, Dr. Patrick Ubro, said the new approach is a departure from the fragmented agricultural projects of the past. According to him, agro will align each state's crop portfolio to local realities from soil type to market demand, ensuring that interventions are sustainable and attractive to private investors. He noted that the program is designed to link land preparation, irrigation, production, storage, processing, and digital tools into one seamless chain.
We are here for a zonal agroecological meeting to interact with the farmers to find out the actual issues that is, around our own environment. This project is coming differently, unlike other World Bank projects, where projects are being just mimed and handed down to states, to communities, in line with maybe the research or the findings in Norway, in Switzerland. But here, it's coming down to us to specifically tailored down to our environment.
The World Bank representative, Dr. Chidozie Anyero, explained that the $500 million program is supported through a World Bank loan. He said its implementation model would depend on government's readiness to make loans, grants, or hybrid financial supports available to beneficiaries.
Yeah, this project is very holistic in the design, very comprehensive, right? We are looking at both the upstream and downstream value chain, and also the linkage between the producers and the off-takers and the processors, right? So there will be a lot of support to the upstream producers and the downstream processors to ensure that there won't be any post-harvest loss.
With agriculture contributing significantly to Nigeria's economy, the agro program signals the federal government's renewed attempt to move the sector beyond subsistence farming to making it more competitive, technology-driven, and export-oriented. But how much impact the $500 billion intervention will make depends heavily on implementation, accountability, and long-term political will. In Enugu, Chinemere Mikebunam, Signature TV News.
Stay with us for more news after this break. Welcome back. The Southeast Business Investment Summit, SEBIS 2025, has brought renewed focus on the need to reposition the region as a major economic force in Nigeria. Stakeholders at the summit called for strategic partnerships, policy reforms, and increased investment to unlock the vast commercial potential of the Southeast and drive sustainable development. Chinemere Mikebunam was at the summit at the International Conference Center in Enugu, which brought together top influencers within and outside the region.
The three-day summit, now in its second edition, was convened under the theme Remaking the Southeast as an Economic Powerhouse. Designed as an engine room for strategic economic revival, the gathering brought together Igbo elders, traditional rulers, state governors, diplomats, business leaders, and foreign investors, all committed to charting a new economic direction for the region. Deputy Governor of Enugu State, Ifeanyi Osai, who stood in for Governor Peter Mba as the special guest of honor, commended the organizers for sustaining what he described as a critical intervention platform. He noted that new market opportunities are emerging for Igbo entrepreneurs across African markets and stressed that strong leadership collaboration and regional alignment are essential for success. Osai also emphasized the role of academic institutions, describing them as the knowledge factories that must be harnessed to drive innovation, skills development, and long-term growth.
By the time they move their goods from here to Aba or Oka, you will have met 3, 10, 20, 30 revenue checkpoints. That cannot be the zone desirous of growth. If we must expand our opportunities, if we must develop the way we project to, we must first of all work to create a common market. In Southeast, A common market that makes investment attractive to foreign investors and private capital.
Secretary of the Southeast Business Summit, Dr. Ife Diokwenna, highlighted the core objectives of the summit, which include attracting investors, accelerating business deals, showcasing regional potentials, and setting measurable timelines for economic targets. He challenged stakeholders and patriots of the region to work collectively towards building a $100 trillion Southeast economy by 2030, a target he described as ambitious but achievable with the right commitment.
We need to, as a matter of fact, reduce crime. But when it's tough, private sector, insecurity will structurally reduce because of new and independent private sector, which what states actually. And we say meeting of business minds.
Summit Chairman Sam Ohuabonwa took a historic reflection, noting that the Southeast once played a dominant role in Nigeria's economic landscape, especially between 1960 and 1966. He urged the governors of the 5 Southeast states to prioritize regional economic restructuring and deploy their statutory powers to rebuild what he termed the region's lost economic glory.
Others may blame it on Hanese. What is Hanese doing? That's the question here. That's the refrain. What is Hanese? Each time there's a problem, what's Hanese doing? If the Southeast is not moving forward, they blame on Hanese. And sometimes they blame our traditional institutions. And some others say it is the fault of the business class. People are not investing at home. You are going to invest somewhere. In my view, ladies and gentlemen, all these complaints are correct. And in fact, there is enough blame to go around to every one of us. Why are we where we are? Why are we punching below our weight?
Other speakers stressed the urgent need to confront insecurity, rebuild investors' confidence, strengthening infrastructure, and restore trust, all key ingredients required to attract sustainable investments into the region.
How do we reverse this? We have to adopt what we call export-led growth strategy. Please understand that Nigeria doesn't have we don't have industrial policy in Nigeria. You don't know that. We don't have industrial policy in Nigeria. We should have industrial policy for Southwest. We don't have trade policy. We don't have trade policy in Nigeria. We don't, as of now, we don't have trade policy.
It's an opportunity for the Igbo community to join hands with us. We are designed through the governance system, through a well-balanced economy, through a very, very stable currency, and GDP per capita, which is very consistent.
The South is endowed with a lot of resources. The Southeast is endowed with a lot of business and industrial capabilities. It is therefore not surprising that a coming together of these two regions, not exclusively, and moving together, advancing the economies of these two regions to the benefit of the entire nation, is something that we look forward to.
The Southeast Business Investment Summit 2025 is expected to produce a comprehensive roadmap for reviving the region's economy. Stakeholders say the journey towards remaking the Southeast may be long, but with unified leadership, secured environments, and renewed investors' confidence, the region can once again take its rightful place as a major economic force in Nigeria and beyond. In Enugu, Chinemere Mikebuna, Signature TV News.
Young Nigerians are once again making the nation proud on the global stage, this time in the rapidly evolving field of artificial intelligence governance. At the inaugural summit on artificial intelligence convened by leaders from government, academia, industry, civil society, and the research community in Ottawa, two young Nigerians, Somto Mbelu, founder of the Ottawa Responsible AI Hub, and Harm and Fenifere, Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of Spark Tech, stood out at the heart of the conversation.
The summit, which was held at Invest Ottawa Bayview Yards, brought together organizations including Google Cloud, Microsoft, IBM Consulting, Mila, PwC Canada, the Canada Revenue Agency, the Canadian Digital Service, and the Office of the Privacy Commissioner. Speakers included top Canadian government officials as well as Sonia Shorey. Somto Mbelu, a Nigerian scholar and AI governance expert, emphasized that responsible AI cannot be shaped by a single country, industry, or worldview. He noted the urgent need for frameworks grounded in equity, community protection, and global cultural perspectives, including voices from Africa.
We created the summit because AI is advancing faster than many communities, government, organizations can fully prepare for. And yet, the people who feel its most impact are often the ones whose voices are heard least. Communities on the margin, the workers navigating automation, and newcomers learning digital system. This inaugural summit is for all of us who believe in communities, believe that communities deserve a real seat at the table. Responsible AI is more about technical frameworks. It's about inclusion, lived experience. It's about building technology with the people and not simply for them. It also means asking what trust looks like in different contexts and designing systems that honor those trusts. Also building responsible AI tools like the responsible AI assessment tools to help small businesses evaluate risks, detect bias, and strengthen accountability. As we grow, we welcome partners who share our commitment to community-centered innovation and ensuring that AI reflects the needs and the voices of communities, its impact here in Canada and also around the world.
A major Nigerian highlight at the summit was the involvement of Hamd Afenifere, whose company Spark Tech is pioneering responsible and inclusive digital solutions. The keynote address delivered by Professor Grammy Aud focused on the emerging field of AI risk assurance, the need for structured oversight, auditing mechanisms, and governance standards across industries.
The way I've thought about this is sort of understanding how not only do we need to think about, again, this is where I want to emphasize that I'm thinking about regulation not just as a functional tool, but also a space of politics and power, right? So these actors are not necessarily thinking about the responsibility of AI as an end, but they're thinking about it as a space in which to profit and generate business opportunity, okay? So in that respect, it feeds into and it shapes and advances certain interests in ways that we ought to be aware of in terms of how we develop and move forward with responsible AI, okay? Work that we've done, we did a little bit of a look at the European Commission's consultation on the EU AI Act, and the National Telecommunications and Information Administration had a consultation as well on the role of AI accountability measures and policies in the US. And in both those instances, it helped us identify actors that were actually doing assurance work to determine what they were saying they were already doing. So what forms of assurance were they already offering to firms, and what they hoped governments would support in forms of regulation. So were they advocating for formalization of this process, or were they saying, no, let us do our own thing, we don't need government rules in this case?
An impactful contribution also came from IBM Consulting's Melanie Gilbert, who shared practical strategies for embedding ethical considerations directly into enterprise governance, KPIs, and risk management. Panel discussions brought together experts from Microsoft, Mila, One Remit, PwC Canada, Erasmus University Rotterdam, the CRA, and the Canadian Digital Service. Topics included operationalizing AI ethics, community-driven data governance, and the development of transparent and safe AI architectures. Across all sessions, one message was clear: responsible AI requires shared accountability, and government, industry, academia, and communities must collaborate to build technology that protects rights, strengthens trust, and serves the public good. For Nigeria, this summit signals a powerful narrative that the next generation of Nigerian innovators is shaping global conversations, not from the sidelines, but from the center.
It was an atmosphere of relief, joy, laughter, and happiness at the Mother Louisa Charity Center in Enugu last weekend, as the home played host to the Seizure Support Foundation, a non-governmental organization committed to supporting children with special needs. The visit offered ample opportunity for the general health checks on inmates of the home, which was provided by the medical team from the foundation. Correspondent Ugone Owalu brought the report.
Visit brought renewed hope to children living with cerebral disorders, autism, epilepsy, and other neurological conditions. They received medical attention, including seizure medications, physiotherapy, and general health checks carried out by the medical team provided by the foundation. The founder of the center, Louise Ekwe, expressed gratitude to the foundation for remembering the children and providing care when it was needed most. She highlighted the numerous challenges faced by the center, including high cost of medication, feeding, therapy equipment, and the growing number of children needing support.
So I'm so happy to see Seizure Foundation coming here to help me in the department of my children who need that physical help. So I'm so happy for them. Yes, we have our permanent site. We have over 80 something of these children here. So we need to move to our permanent site, and we are believing God. And one thing is this: the Bible says, blessed is he that sow in many waters. So whatever you can help us with, may God bless you.
The facilitator of the visit and representative of the Seizure Support Foundation, Dr. Chigi Chiagoro, said the purpose of the visit was to offer the foundation's little support for the home. She stressed the need for government intervention through flexible and affordable insurance packages to support children with special needs.
It is really difficult to find maybe an insurance system that covers for basic healthcare needs of children with special needs, because most of them are down with seizures, most of them have cerebral palsy, most of them have muscle atrophy. So as an organization, we have come to see how we can bridge that gap and bring healthcare solutions to children with special needs. And for Mother Louisa Home, I think it's a one-stop place to reach children, over 80 of them with special needs. So we are here with neurologists, we're here with nurses, we're here with physiotherapists to work on these children and give them a sense of belonging. So moving forward, we want to see more government involvement, especially in the area of healthcare. We have been doing a lot of advocacy, but there's so much one organization can do. We want to see a flexible healthcare plan for children with special needs, children with cerebral palsy, children with infantile spasms, children with autism, children who have special needs, all sorts of special needs. We want to see a flexible healthcare plan, but we can do better, we can do more. There's always room for more. We want to see a flexible healthcare scheme, an insurance package for children with special needs.
The caregiver at the center, Mrs. Rosemary Chukwu, explained that taking care of the children with special needs involve a lot of daily struggles and emotional burden.
I feel happy taking care of them because most of the time they make you happy and they make you angry sometimes in taking care of them, and most of the times there must be blessings that follow in taking care of them. The challenge is that because most of the time, most of them they use pampers, and most of the times we don't have pampers, and most of the times some of them are in drugs because If they didn't take that drugs, it makes them feel bad. And to carry them is very difficult to us because the way they are taking that drugs, it makes them very lively. They can be able to carry them, or some of them can be able to walk.
And for a member of the foundation, Hope Masnachi, a lot needs to be done to support children living with neurological disorders in Nigeria.
It's been an emotional one for me, and it's actually giving me some form of reflection on how to come back and support these children aside what the Seizure Support Foundation, and it will be a good one for other individuals, well-meaning Nigerians, to actually come here and see for themselves what these children are passing through. They need medications, they need food, they need even education for their caregivers. And so this will go a long way to help this home that houses over 80 children living with neurological disorders.
The outreach was dedicated to the memory of a board member of the foundation, Iru Nwokedi, who recently passed away. A representative of the family, Patience Nwokedi, expressed gratitude to the foundation for keeping her legacy alive through its acts of kindness.
Auntie, we are celebrating you today for your work of your children. We thank you. We know that we are going to the heaven. We miss you a lot for your own work, and the children is happy to celebrate you. Rest in peace.
Apart from medical outreach, the Seizure Support Foundation also donated food items and drugs to the home, a gesture that brought visible smiles to the faces of both the children and their caregivers. And for the children and those who care for them daily, the visit was more than a medical outreach. It was a show of love, compassion, and hope for a better tomorrow. In Enugu, Ugonde Owalo, Signature TV News.
In a bid to improve electricity supply and ensure reliable power supply to Anambra residents, the state government has granted an operational license to the First Power Electricity Distribution Company Limited, FPEDC, for electricity distribution in the state. The official license, which was issued by the Anambra State Electricity Regulatory Commission for interim electricity distribution, took place in Awka, the capital state of Anambra. Correspondent Lawrence Wimo gave this report.
The Anambra State Electricity Regulatory Commission has granted an operational license to the First Power Electricity Distribution Company Limited for power distribution in the state. The chairman and chief executive officer of the commission, Professor Frank Okafor, said the issuance of the interim license to the company legalizes its operation power distribution in the state.
Existing districts are supposed to form a subsidiary that should operate in each state. So EEDC formed this First Power, registered First Power with CAC to be the distribution company that will operate in Anambra State. That's all we have done, just for 1 year, within which they will file the normal application, they will go through the normal process to get a full license.
Okafor said the development is part of Governor Choko Masoludo's commitment to enhancing the state's electricity infrastructure and promoting industrialization. He said the commission had passed a resolution to issue interim licenses to companies licensed by the National Electricity Regulatory Commission who are operating in the state in order to legalize their operations in line with the law.
We have issued a license. We've been here about a couple of months before the operation of the commission. And because we are sensitive to the legislation that backs the existence of the commission, so we knew it was coming. So we have been on that. So basically what happened today is formalizing our presence and letting all the stakeholders know that this is no longer a There's now a first power of an independent company that is in charge of this distribution in Anambra State.
Dr. Ernest Mupwaya from the Enugu Electricity Distribution Company, while receiving the certificate, assured that the company will surpass the expectations of the state government and the Anambra people in terms of performance. He affirmed that EEDC and First Power are fully aligned with the state's development aspirations, noting that the ongoing reforms have created the conditions for accelerated investment, network expansion, improved customer service, and modernization of the electricity value chain.
We are being awarded the license for a SAPCO First Power to operate and be regulated by Anambra State Regulator. For us, it's a major milestone because we are aware of all the details of the major regulatory instruments. We participated in the integrated resource plan, we participated in the drafting of the energy policy, and even the Electricity Act for the state. So because of that, we are fully aware of the expectation and work diligently to roll out our plans, cooperate with various partners, stakeholders, so that we can continuously improve electricity in the state of Anambra.
Earlier, in his reaction, Managing Director of First Power Electricity Distribution Company, Okechukwu Okafor, said the licensing was to formalize the company in the state as an independent entity distinct from the EEDC, being an independent body saddled with the responsibility of distributing electricity in Anambra. The formal presentation of the license was witnessed by government officials, including commissioners, lawmakers, and other relevant stakeholders in the power sector. From Oka, Lawrence Muimu, Signature TV News.
Next is foreign news. A Ukrainian lawmaker and an ex-mufti voiced sharp criticism of the US-backed 28-point peace plan. The US blindsided Kyiv and European countries with its 28-point peace plan last week and gave Ukraine until Thursday to agree to a framework to end Europe's deadliest war since World War II. The plan required Kyiv to cede more territory, accept curbs on its military, and bar it from ever joining NATO, conditions Kyiv has long rejected as tantamount to surrender. In a joint statement, Washington and Kyiv said they had drafted a refined peace framework after talks in Geneva on Sunday. Though there were no specifics, the dialogue received a cautious welcome from some of Ukraine's allies.
It is outrageous that the American administration has in fact proposed Russian demands for capitulation of Ukraine. It came as a complete surprise. And people were offended. This plan is so disgusting and vile that the officers and soldiers I know said, "No, we're going to keep fighting. We don't want to surrender." This is, in fact, a capitulation plan. It is a terrible humiliation for all the soldiers, both those who are fighting and those who are defending Ukraine. It is a slap in the face to them and to their hearts. Let's be honest. In this plan, everything is unacceptable. It is unacceptable that we are being forced to give up our Ukrainian land, which is enshrined in our constitution. Tens of thousands of Ukrainian soldiers died defending this land. We are being asked to once again accept Russian propaganda, the Russian church, the Russian language, and to forgive all traitors.
To have peace in Europe and worldwide, it is necessary to stop Russia, which is not to cross the red lines of territorial integrity, of Ukrainian armed forces, of Ukrainian national identity, which was so important and which was actually protected within Minsk agreements and is not protected under the circumstances we see.
Air India had cancelled several flights on Tuesday after ash plumes from the volcanic eruption in Ethiopia disrupted operations. The airline stated that they had cancelled these flights to conduct precautionary checks on aircraft that had flown over some locations after the eruption, following a directive to airlines from India's aviation regulator. Air Alaska also scrapped numerous flights to Middle East destinations, including Jeddah, Kuwait, and Abu Dhabi. The ash cloud had moved towards China and was expected to clear Indian skies on Tuesday, according to the statement of the India Meteorological Department. Ethiopia's Haligoubi volcano sent ash plumes up to 14-kilometer high after erupting on Sunday for the first time in recorded history, according to media reports. Residents of the Brazilian capital, Brasilia, expressed mixed views on far-right President Jair Bolsonaro's 27-year prison sentence on Wednesday. Brazil's Supreme Court on Tuesday ordered former far-right President Jair Bolsonaro to begin a 27-year prison sentence for a coup plot against his successor.
Bolsonaro is a rough stone. I usually say he's a rough stone. He makes mistakes because he talks too much. He has these outbursts and shouldn't have done that. Damaged the ankle monitor. He already had the ankle monitor. He should have left it. I thought it was unnecessary, his arrest. I found it extremely unnecessary.
Justice Alexander de Moraes told Bolsonaro to start serving his sentence in the Federal House Superintendency in Brasilia, where he has been detained since Saturday after he tampered with his ankle monitor while under house arrest in a separate case. And that's it on today's episode of Week in Review. I'm your host, Princess Ken Ochoma. See you next week.